Did you guys know that Dream got into drama recently? No? That's not something you knew about, or a monthly occurrence for Dream at this point? I can't believe it! Listen, if you've been on the internet in the past week, you're probably aware of what I'm going to discuss within this video. However, I do think it's interesting to sit down and actually have a conversation about the subject at hand. Dream made a tweet towards TommyInnit and TommyInnit's fans in specific where he referred to them with the r-slur. There's a lot of other surrounding context, his issues with other Minecraft creators, and the backlog of allegations against Dream and friends that both have and haven't been addressed to the audience's satisfaction, but at its core, this is the focus of where this drama begins. As a content creator with diagnosed ADHD, I think it's important for me to kind of sit down and have a little bit of a conversation, weigh in, or maybe give an opinion that you might not have heard so far. And so I thought it's about time I make some kind of old school Harley TBS video and just give you my thoughts. But as a quick forewarning, I am Harley TBS. You might know me from my other channel. If you're new here, this is a new channel. This is a new project, kind of trying to make content in the same vein as I used to make on my main channel because it's become way too inundated with passion projects at this point. And so I'd like to ask, as this is the first video on this channel, click subscribe. Hopefully YouTube pushes these videos and then I can make more videos doing what I used to do, offhandedly talking about things that interest me, because I don't tend to do that anymore. Anyway, that's enough shilling. Let me talk to you as if you don't know anything about this situation and give you a bit of a recap. Dream is a Minecraft YouTuber who worked with TommyInnit and other content creators on an SMP called the Dream SMP. Since that SMP, a lot of those creators have fallen out over several issues ranging from personal disagreements to allegations of sexual misconduct. For the past year, maybe slightly longer, content creators who were on the SMP but are no longer friends with Dream have been referencing Dream in jokes and videos in a negative light. With TommyInnit himself speaking about Dream and an encounter he had in the past with Dream, where Dream said he made him, effectively telling Tommy that without Dream and without his advice, he would have no platform or no success. But these issues seemed to reach a boiling point when TommyInnit and Jack Manifold, his co-host on his podcast, made it clear that neither of them liked him, and in fact, they kind of hated him.
And like, I'm not gonna sit here and like shit on him forever. He gave me a great opportunity. I appreciate that, and he's done individual like one-off acts of kindness to me. But I think I've seen him time and time again do like things like that, where it's like he takes ownership of other people and their accomplishments because he was like a guiding hand, and it's like it's such a narcissistic, shitty thing to do, and it makes me like see red.
Yeah,
because I will actually shut up and get myself in trouble, man.
It's all right.
Now, Dream didn't actually respond to this moment directly. Weirdly enough, Dream actually responded after TommyInnit took shots at XQC and Mizkiv with a tweet that I'm sure you've seen, and it's the reason why I'm making this video in the first place. This tweet included an image showing Dream SMP fans, now the Minecraft server has ended, picking between growing up and I mean, read it for yourself. I don't really know why Dream thought it would be a good idea to post this tweet. I think it's very hard as a creator to not know the kind of audience you've cultivated and how they would react to a tweet like this. And of course, Dream can, and has, made multiple responses at this point mentioning the fact that he has ADHD. However, coming off the back of multiple false predator allegations he saw an audience run with despite not having the proof, he should know better than to post a tweet like this, which, if they're a fan of TommyInnit, labels them the r-slur and is only going to provoke them to react. And I mean, you're giving them a great point to make you look awful. And that's not even mentioning the optics side. But don't worry, I will talk about the actual issue I have with using the r-slur in a second. I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, this is a business. If you wouldn't tweet the r-slur off on a brand account for a company, I don't see why you would do it for your own brand. It's unprofessional, it's going to cause a lot of drama, and it's going to divide your audience in a situation where you're already being outnumbered in terms of sheer social following that the other people talking about you have. But all of the business stuff aside, I just don't think this is a reasonable way to reclaim a slur on a public platform, and I think there was no scenario where this was going to go down well. I believe that if you have a diagnosis, even if you're self-diagnosed, I don't care, it is your choice how you choose to reclaim a slur that has been used against you. I'll never tell you not to do it. I personally choose not to use the r-slur. It's not a word I like using, even though by this logic, I would be within my rights to reclaim it, but I can see the other side. However, I think the context of the use of the r-slur is very significant to a subject like this. I think there's a difference between using the r-slur to remove its weight and using it to childishly name-call a group of people because you got mad that they don't like you. It doesn't make you look cool, it makes you look like a high school bully. I don't see a reason to play internet nanny and police people's language, but I do think that you make the bed you lie in, and at the end of the day, with an audience like the one you have, you were kinda asking for what came next. And what came next was what you would expect. Every single creator involved in this space, involved with Dream, involved with the Dream SMP, came out voicing concern about this comment and taking every kind of shot they could at him. Because I mean, at this point, you've invited people to practically get a free pass to say anything to you, and you can't really get mad, and your audience can't really fire back at them either. Deleting the tweet and creating Reddit posts isn't going to douse the flames, you're just giving more ammunition to the people who have been waiting for a moment to take these shots at you. And shots they took. On January the 12th, TommyInnit made a video simply titled Dream. And within it, he brought up the r-slur, he brought up his past issues with Dream, and used it as an opportunity to basically lay out every issue on the table.
If you've been off the internet the past couple days and haven't kept up, basically, if you're one of my subscribers, Dream has called you a slur. So deal with that how you want. So Dream, hello mate, let's just dive right in, shall we? Let's talk about you calling all my fans the r-slur. You can't throw around the r-slur, mate. You just can't. My mum worked with adults with disabilities, and since I was 12, I volunteered with her. These are real, fucking amazing people, who I think of like family, who actually get called this slur. And you do not just throw it around. It's impossibly immature and reckless and sets such a shitty precedent to everyone. Shame on you, man.
Personally, and this could just be a me thing, I feel like this video feels slightly inauthentic though. The language used when describing Dream using the r-slur and his overall sentiment doesn't actually feel to me like he actually means it. Which I think especially isn't helped by this jarring tour and merch plug he puts right at the end of the video.
Called me a promoter of all my other projects I do in your Reddit post too. Yeah man, are you stupid? Of course I promote all this stuff, but the difference between me and you is I actually give a shit. I put effort, my absolute best, into all these new things. I'm gonna talk about my brilliant podcast because I'm really proud of it. Or the book I spent months writing. Or comedy. I mean, mate, I've ditched the internet for a year to do the rounds in tiny pubs, to do the stand-up comedy circuit the legitimate way, because of people like you. People who have ruined this space. And that takes balls. Courage. I'm not just selling USB baby photos or lazily designed merchandise, alright? I'm doing the best with what I have. Figure your shit out, man, because how you behave right now is just not gonna cut it. Right. Yeah, as I said, I am going on tour, doing my comedy to Australia, the USA, and the UK. So if you want to see me in person making you laugh and giving you some relief from all of this bullshit, then go to TommyInnit.com. I promise you, it's better than all this shit. I also do have a new, very funny book coming out, which seems more appropriate than ever right now. I spent months writing this, and it's not shit. So check that out.
I feel like it has no place within this video, and I think the prominence of it, even if this wasn't the intent, makes it seem like TommyInnit didn't actually care about what he was talking about, and only made this video as an opportunity to get more eyes on the stuff that's making him money. I don't want to believe that, but it was an uncomfortable feeling I got at the end of the video that made me second guess how much of what TommyInnit said within the video he actually meant. But if you've seen his full video, I would love to hear your opinions on that part. I might be misreading things. And of course, this video rubbed Dream the wrong way. Fast forward about a day and Dream has his own video out, titled, I'm sorry, but not to TommyInnit. A title drenched in maturity. Here, he takes accountability for using the r-slur and apologizes, but I'll be honest, his apology rings kinda hollow.
TommyInnit posted a video yesterday that was titled Dream, where he said a lot of stuff about me that isn't true, but he did correctly criticize me for something that I want to apologize for before I respond to the rest of his video. I posted a meme on Twitter that used the R word, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry, genuinely. I think it's important to acknowledge right off the bat that that's not right, that's not how you should behave. I shouldn't have done it. period.
A sudden change on his feelings on the r-slur right after posting it and after defending it for several days doesn't really convince me he's taken the accountability necessary or convince me that suddenly Dream is going to change at his core. So if that's what you came to this video for, I mean, it's not happening. He does make the claim that some of the creators involved with this situation have continued to spread disproven claims about him past them being disproven. That, of course, is an important subject for him to bring up. However, I think calling this out right off the back of apologizing for calling the audience the r-slur isn't going to convince them to go to bat for you and doesn't flow well within this video.
Tommy, you and some of your friends have been spreading disproven lies about me for over a year and a half. When I had false allegations made about me, it was one of the hardest times of my life, and you and your friends decided that after I went through the hell of debunking them, that you would continue to spread, joke about, and support these lies. Don't believe me that you've been doing this? Let's just hear your own best friend confirm that this has been happening.
I get why he might be mad about the lies. That group being like, he's a pedophile all the time, which again, I don't like.
As you guys know, I made a video debunking those allegations, and after my video, the accusers even came forward and admitted that they were not true. I thought that that would be the end of it, but for some reason, you and your friend group thought that you would kick me while I was down.
I think there's a necessary structure and a time and place to present these issues, and I think separating an apology and a call-out is probably a better approach than this. He also rolls off of the claim that him and his group are sexist by saying he doesn't even know the context of TommyInnit's claim.
And you and your friends' references and the way you talk about women behind the scenes has been so sexist too. Shame on you guys.
I don't even know what this is about. You don't provide any context or evidence to what you're saying. TommyInnit, your racist behavior behind the scenes is unacceptable. You are a racist behind the scenes, and it's unacceptable. Shame on you.
I think this one lands especially bad because just prior to this video coming out, Ludwig from Video Games had mentioned that Dream came to him in the past to do a mogul mail defending him. He'd confronted Dream about the fact that he'd called one of Ludwig's friends a whore, and as Ludwig put it, Dream fired back with a big response that turned out to be about a different girl.
This whore thing is true, right? This happened. Someone came up to me and they told me this. Dream, after I said this, sent me back like 5 pages worth of information about the situation, defending himself, you know, messages from the person he called a whore, and explaining the situation, right? All of those messages were about a different girl. I never replied because I was like, brother, that's not even who I was talking about. Apparently you've come into this situation now more than one time. I'm definitely not making the video. Moved on with my life.
I know Dream has said that Ludwig fucked up the context of this and that actually these events didn't play out the way Ludwig described them. However, that doesn't change the initial impact it had on his response video and how the audience reacted to this claim at large. I know Dream's defense to this is that he calls a lot of his friends whores and that he doesn't think it's a big deal. I don't necessarily disagree. I think if it's in a joking context and you're hurling insults at your friends over a game or whatever, I don't think you're an awful person for it, but I don't think I'm wrong in saying that none of it looked good for him in the lead up to a response video where he asked for the context that would act as the basis for an argument to call Dream sexist. Him also swinging the Logan Paul situation as a point to make Tommy look worse is just a total misreading of that situation and the audience's conclusion from it.
I mean, you didn't have a problem interviewing Sapnap in one of your videos recently.
Sapnap! Well, Sapnap, you see, today I'm no longer TommyInnit, famed Minecraft YouTuber. I'm actually Professor Respect. Okay, well, good to see you.
Yeah. Oh, and you tried to interview George, but he walked away because he didn't want to be in your video. So there's 2 options. Either 1, they're not bad people, or 2, you don't care enough to not profit off of them. Like, you'll be best friends with Logan Paul in private, but then the second it becomes beneficial for people to think that you don't like him, then all of a sudden you have a problem with all those shitty things that he's done.
I mean, God, this whole video is a mess. After this, Dream talks about TommyInnit slighting his merchandise and says that TommyInnit's merch was made using child labor.
I'm not just selling USB baby photos or lazily designed merchandise, alright? I'm doing the best with what I have.
Tommy, you say that like it's a slight on me, when my entire merch brand was built by my family, in my hometown. Like, the reason there was ever a USB flash drive sold that had pictures of me on it was because it was my mom's idea, and Tommy knows that.
With the package too. A dream hoodie!
But with neon.
All the designers are local people working with my local family business. And this also let me make sure that all of my fans had a good merch experience.
That is really cool.
I didn't make the most money that way, but I'm happy that I did it. Tommy went with a merch company that actually had some really cool designs, with some very hardworking child laborers to make it possible. Unfortunately, that company also scammed a bunch of his viewers, and multiple of his creator friends got scammed and literally never got paid, and the company went bankrupt.
He says that TommyInnit runs an editor sweatshop, and he continues to make bold claims like this throughout the video.
I'm gonna talk about my brilliant podcast because I'm really proud of it. Or the book I spent months writing.
Tommy essentially belittles what I do, saying that what he does with his podcast and book are somehow more valuable or important than the videos that I make, which I think is just a little sad. I'm happy making videos with my friends. That's what I've always done. And I'm a coder, and I code cool new Minecraft mods and make everything for my channels by myself. Like, I edit my own videos. I'm sure Tommy can knock out videos pretty quick because at one point he had a literal editor sweatshop where his editors made less than minimum wage, and we're also getting fans to edit the videos for free for them.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some basis behind these claims. At the end of the day, TommyInnit's merch company does have a lot of allegations against it, with Tubbo himself, someone who's worked with the company, saying that he can attest to child labor being used in one instance not on TommyInnit's merch. And I mean, at the end of the day, somebody in TommyInnit's editor circle clearly has an issue with him. Otherwise, how would Dream have these chat logs in the first place? But there's no evidence TommyInnit knew about child labor at the company. And equally, there's a lot of editors for TommyInnit who say completely the opposite, that they've had a great time working with him. So I don't think these claims land. I know the angle Dream has tried to say he was taking here. TommyInnit took shots at his merch saying Dream didn't care, but Dream wanted to emphasize that he'd rather make shitty merch than use child labor. And I mean, I guess if you want to take pot shots, it's not that bad. And I won't debate the semantics. I mean, if child labor was used in one instance, at the end of the day, the company's still using child labor. But even with all of Dream's intent here, I still think it just makes him look petty. I mean, equally, I think you could say the same about TommyInnit. However, I think he looks better than Dream. Mainly because, you know, he's kind of not the one who held the r-slur at the other person's audience. Best point in Dream's video goes to him calling out Tommy for saying that Dream harassed his mom. I mean, this one text message of Dream being, kind of passive-aggressive, but mostly reasonable. It's not harassment. I think you could say it's an overstep of boundaries. But I think when you say someone harassed your mom and you don't provide screenshots to show it, people assume the worst. Worst part of the video probably goes to them closing words.
You don't need to put other people down to lift yourself up.
Says the guy who just called the audience the r-slur. Like, talk about reading the room. Anyway, since then, Dream has appeared on a stream with Tubbo to address his video and the stream he did before it. They had a back and forth. They basically agreed to disagree on most of the important things. And I mean, the Twitch views, 14,000 to like 50k, speak for themselves. Anybody on Dream's side here is someone who just hasn't jumped ship. They're too deep in the fan base to really fucking leave at this point. Obviously, you're new to the channel. If this video recapped the situation for you and provided an opinion you hadn't heard before, feel free to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, etc. You know the YouTube is. I'm interested to see how this video does. Obviously, it's been a long time since I've done these kind of short, quick, off-the-cuff videos about a topic like this. If it does well, I'd be interested in doing more. Hit this situation a little later than I would have liked, so I don't know how well it will do. But yeah, I suppose we'll find out. Bye.
Boo-hoo, cracker.